You know what? I mean, this is the second time I've done this because I'm trying to I'm doing a lot of work on me, as it were. So, and I'm really trying to recognize where some of my triggers and my propensity to kind of get ranty and start kind of complaining about stuff. You know what? I threw that other version out because I'm going to do something different. I've seen a lot of people complaining about Book of Boba Fett, that it's boring, it's this, that, and the other thing. And you know what? I'm throwing my hat in the ring that it's a damn fine show so far. We're 3 episodes in. I really enjoyed it. I threw my hat in the ring with sort of Hawkeye too. That was a really enjoyable show too, and people were bagging the hell on that. I have two problems with Book of Boba Fett so far within 3 episodes. One, I'll just say it in this last episode, speeder chase, too long. I know though, you know what? I don't like vehicle chases in movies or TV shows. Unless there's kind of something else going on, sort of thing. I hate car chases. And this is ostensibly like a car motorcycle chase. Like, alright, you've got, 50 style sort of motorcycle speeders on voluntary cyborg biker gang thing and going through the streets of a town in Tatooine, and it's like I just really don't like car chases. So some of that's just on me. My only other real issue is that there's a few places where Boba Fett he seems intentionally, I guess, powered down. Like the whole street fight with the assassins and the thing, he was getting his ass whooped, and it's like, I don't think he would have gotten his ass whipped that bad. It just seemed like it was, I don't know, it just seemed kind of forced, powered down sort of thing. I didn't get why he wasn't like holding his own more than he was. This isn't fresh out of the Sarlacc pit, walking in the desert for a week. Boba Fett. This was the one who just beat the living crap out of a bunch of stormtroopers, sort of thing. Boba Fett. Like, I don't get it. But to me, I'm still Boba Fett. To me, is still the person in like Empire Strikes Back, in the original, not the one that came out in the 90s or 2000s or whatever, when they redubbed his voice to kind of make him. It was Tamara Morrison though, so dude, it kind of was kind of like whatever. But in the original Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett basically is kind of like to Darth Vader. He's like, what if he dies? He's worth a lot to me. It's like he's just basically telling Vader, dude, you're gonna owe me. You don't f this up, or you owe me. When he says "as you wish," in the redubbed one, he's like "as you wish," like whatever. In the original, it's like "as you wish." It's just sort of like, "Hey Vader," and it's like that's the sort of Boba Fett here. So in so far in 3 episodes, you have a character that is, okay, he not traditionally a good person. He's taking over a whole, crime lord sort of syndicate and everything else like that. But he's trying to do it his way, because if he just went in and did the same thing again and again, it's like, okay, whatever, just some new guy. No, he's going to make it in his image, which means that it's not basically going to be Star Wars Sopranos, so Sopranos without the cussing and the boobies and everything else like that. It's just another mob show sort of thing with jetpacks. It's like, no, he's someone who is trying to strategize and set things up in a way that is for him and by him and will be remembered as him. It's like a legacy thing for everything else like that too. you know, uh, um, I haven't gone into this expecting basically, I don't know, I can't remember how many episodes it'd be. Say there's 8 episodes. I'm not expecting basically Star Wars Desperado for 8 episodes. That's insane. I'm also not expecting The Mandalorian because it's a different show. Yes, a lot of the same people are involved with it, but you know what? Dave Filoni, by the way, as John Favreau's getting like all the damn credit in the world for kind of new good Star Wars, and it needs to be Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni is pretty much the heir apparent to George Lucas. And if it wasn't for Dave Filoni, none of the Mandalorian or Boba Fett or Kenobi or Ahsoka or any of this other stuff would have happened anyway. So as much as Jon Favreau is doing a lot of great positive work for Star Wars, he wouldn't be able to without Dave Filoni. So all y'all who are completely like, Jon Favreau, Jon Favreau, Jon Favreau, do not forget Dave Filoni. But if you expected basically Mandalorian again, but throwing Boba Fett in there, that's insane. It's going to be a different show, and it should be a different show. Like Hawkeye should not have been basically just like Scarlet Witch and just like Loki. It shouldn't have been that way. It was great the way it was because it's different characters in a different show. Same sort of universe, probably a lot of people doing a lot of cross pollinating in terms of their information and their characterizations and all this other stuff too, just like in Star Wars, but are, making something that stands on its own. And I think that's what's going on with this. They're taking Rancors and making them basically talking about pit bulls. You got to hear Danny Trejo talk about Rancors as emotionally complex creatures. Just that alone was great. Hearing Danny Trejo say that about a Rancor, it's awesome. Basically treating them like giant pit bulls. So, just like we do in Star Wars and have for 45 years now, creating off of something that was almost sort of like a one-off sort of thing, creating a richer tapestry in with this. Same thing with the Tusken Raiders. Now, we there's pictures of Tamara Morrison doing a haka on the set of Mandalorian. The traditional Maori sort of like pre-battle, psych out dance and everything else like that. I'm a big fan of hakas, by the way. They're awesome. I love seeing them. And, Robert Rodriguez is in there too and everything. And now we have Tusken Raiders who have been traditionally sort of just one-dimensional kind of racist villains and sort of like fodder. And now we're building a complex indigenous society with them. I don't think that wasn't done just on, oh, well, we need to do something. That was done thoughtfully, and it was done respectfully. And and what would have happened in this day and age if Tusken Raiders were still just sort of treated in the kind of way that they would in the past? People would complain about that. What would have happened if they didn't show how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit, or what was going on in between getting out of the Sarlacc pit and Mandalorian? People probably would have complained about that. But now we're getting this sort of thing, and instead of just getting out there and, going all Wolverine through a bunch of other people, you have someone who is building in complexity of Boba Fett, where he is capable of learning, capable of, forming sort of kind of healthy bonds with people. You're seeing him being a disciplined strategist and fighter. We're seeing him, all these other things that would build into the sort of general badass that we're used to thinking and feeling and believing about Boba Fett. You're seeing all these other aspects that go into that, which was something that things that kind of popped up in the old expanded universe books too. What are they called? They're not legends. There we go. Legends sort of stuff. There's a whole other stuff with that too. He goes on to build a new Mandalore, basically. He's got all these other stuff going on with that as well. Building in the character, so it's not just some sort of... And I know it's easy to think we got Robert Rodriguez, so it'd be really easy just to have, again, Star Wars Desperado. And yeah, there's stuff about that I kind of want to see. But it's also a show that's going to be, what? I can't remember. Again, 6, 8, 10, 12 episodes, whatever it's going to be. They're going to build up to it. Just because we're not getting full force, traditional Robert Rodriguez insanity from minute one, they're actually building characters and building tension and building something to be invested in, doesn't mean that it's boring or crap. I don't know if people were just expecting the sort of sitcom thing where it's just the same thing again and again, just slightly different people and slightly different situations, and somehow think like this is in any way, shape, or form an original idea, original thing. You know, Seinfeld, everyone's like, it's a show about nothing. It's literally the same as every other sitcom out there. It's not doing or saying or anything any different. And there's a billion sitcoms. There's a billion other dramas or action shows. There's tons of mob shows and everything else like that. They're building something in here that is interesting and multifaceted and uh, is is still developing. People are just bagging on it after 2, 3 episodes. You don't know where it's going. You don't know what it's doing. Give it a chance. So that's my basic message of this. Is like I am positive on Book of Boba Fett after 3 episodes. There's cool stuff going on. I love the whole indigenous take on the Tusken Raiders and trying to transform something that was kind of a one-dimensional, either fodder or vaguely racist, into something interesting. And there's cool little moments in there and stuff like that, and you have people who are building characters and building, sort of it's almost sort of again like an origin story for kind of crime boss thing and everything else like that. So there's stuff it's building up to, and there's couple little things that I just personally didn't kind of jive with. But that's just me, and I know everyone loves almost everyone besides me loves car chases and stuff like that. So I know I am the outlier for that. So I'm sure a lot of people might have been way more entertained by that than I am. But you know what? Enough with the negativity. Enough with the people bagging on stuff that's good. Book of Boba Fett, 3 episodes in, is good. It's interesting. It's not boring. The Tusken Raider stuff was cool, and I'm looking forward to see where it goes. And I'm definitely sure there's going to be some probably pretty high class Robert Rodriguez kind of crazy stuff coming up here pretty soon. And I like that. I like the fact that it's sort of subverting expectations so far, in good ways, not just to subvert them. Because we get so many things like, oh, I'm a clever artiste because I subverted your expectations. Did you, though? Or are you just kind of a self-infatuated wanker? Like, there's a lot of really self-infatuated wankers who think that they're interesting. It's because, like, oh, you expect me to do this and I did that. It's like, yeah, but it's the only reason you did that is so you could say you did that. That's about it. So, no, you expected to see a Rancor. You didn't see a Rancor thing. Now you do, and guess what? Danny Trejo calls it an emotionally complex creature. Interesting. You want to see Tusken Raiders? We see Tusken Raiders, but guess what? Also, emotionally and culturally complex people. Not just random kidnappers that you can saw through for a whiny teen's not character development. And they're not just sort of random baddies that are faceless things that you can just sort of, saw in half with a lightsaber and it's fine. Complex sort of thing. So, in the tradition of what we've been doing with Star Wars for 45 years, again, there's someone with 3 seconds of screen time in the cantina in the original Star Wars movie. And all of a sudden people are giving him a name and backstories and all this other stuff that led him into that cantina and whatever happened to him afterwards, all this other stuff. So it's staying in the vein of Star Wars. It's building complexity with, a character that everyone's been obsessed with I'm not going to say since the holiday special, but at least since 1980 with Return of the Empire Strikes Back. So really, it's good. I'm putting positive vibes out there. That Book of Boba Fett is good, and leaving all the negative people and all the negative stuff that's whining about not even anything specific. It's just, oh, it sucks. It's boring. And it's like, okay, fine. Y'all have your opinion. I'm putting out that it's good and I enjoy it. And all the people involved, Robert Rodriguez and John Favreau and Dave Filoni, all you guys, you're doing good work. Appreciate you. Adding in all those sort of cool cultural stuff again. I dig it. So yeah, positive vibes for Boba Fett and the show. Looking forward to it, and just ignore the rest of the garbage. All right. Seek just.